Hello and welcome to the Knitty Stew podcast. My name is Leanne. I am the Knitty Stew. Stew is short for stewardess. I am a Canadian flight attendant and a knitter, and this is my YouTube channel where I pack both of those things in my suitcase, all my knits, and you all virtually come along with me and I bring you to the overnight cities that I have the privilege of visiting as part of my job. This is take number, 3, 4? I am so rusty, rustier than the sands of P.E.I, which is where I'm coming at you from today. I have had a summer sabbatical. I took 11 weeks off podcasting, and this is going to be interesting. I would be lying if I didn't say I was a little overwhelmed that I'm going to forget all of the things that I want to talk about today. First and foremost, I am coming to you today from the beautiful city of Charlottetown, and I'll put a picture. I'll shoot a picture up here, and I will do a land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, I acknowledge the land upon which I gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epiquet, which is the Mi'kmaq name for Prince Edward Island, is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. I pay my respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people, both past, present, and future, who have occupied this incredibly beautiful island for over 12,000 years. And it is my true honor to be here today, to have had a few days to really explore this incredible, wonderful province in Canada. So thank you so much, everybody. This is episode 34, and I cannot wait to show you all I've got gathered today. I have 5 finished objects, 4 works in progress, and then I figure if we have time, I'd like to do a little knit and chat at the very end, a summer summary, if you will. But before I launch into anything, I need to acknowledge and gratefully give thanks to today's sponsor. Craftsy is an incredible online community of creative, like-minded makers who want to make the world a more creative place. It is the ultimate resource, offering over 2,000 inspiring classes for makers of all skill levels, and they have step-by-step instructions in more than 20 different categories. You name it, knitting, cooking, crochet, sewing, painting, all of the things. I recently dove into the spinning rabbit hole, and my most trusted class was called Drafting from Woolen to Worsted, or worsted to woolen, taught by J.C. Boggs Faulkner, and I loved it because I'm such a visual learner. She went over everything, just step by step, close-ups of the visuals, and it was broken down into small little individual bits. If you become a premium member, which is offered by Craftsy for the first 1,000 of my subscribers, to click on the link in the description, it's $1.49, $1.49. You just have to click in the link and you will have access to over those 2,000 classes. And what I've recently been really enjoying is the live events that get sent to my inboxes. And I almost took the crochet granny flip-flop class. And if you can't make the live classes, which are very enthusiastic and fun, they actually record them and you can replay them at any time. Thanks to Craftsy for the opportunity to partner. Okay, hi. So welcome anyone new or coming back. If you are new here, you can find me as the Knitty Stew on Instagram, Ravelry, and also I have an email address, theknittystew@gmail.com. And if you're coming back, I want to thank all of you who were so sweet with my last video, my last episode, and allowed me to have my little break from YouTubing. And there was a lot of you, I think over 12, who gifted me patterns from my Ravelry wish list. So cheers and thank you. Speaking of cheers, I invite you to grab a beverage of choice or something, because I got a lot to go over today and I'm going to try and manage it all. This is what I'm taking in today. It almost froze. Oh, I can't open it. It almost froze in my fridge. I'm having raspberry cordial. Come on. Like, how lucky am I? I'm sorry. I am just beyond grateful for this overnight. Okay, so I'm going to have raspberry cordial, Anne of Green Gables. If you're not super familiar with the content of Anne of Green Gables, one sec, I'm taking a sip here. Admittedly, I'm from the 80s, so I recall the Anne of Green Gables movies from the 80s. I haven't read the books, but I think that's going to change. And the raspberry cordial part of the story is that her friend Diana comes over, and Diana, I think, and she is preparing a tea, and it's a very adult thing to do. So she says that her friend can have the raspberry cordial, and the raspberry cordial ends up being currant wine. And her friend just gets totally drunk, and it's a pretty funny little thing. So anyway, I'm excited to be talking about Prince Edward Island stuff, which is where Anne of Green Gables was inspired, and the author was from. All these things, wonderful. I've just had a great time. So this could be a chatty episode. So I would like to get back to my roots, honestly, and just try and keep my episodes going forward between 40 to 50 minutes, and we'll see how that goes. But of course, I've been gone for so long that I have a lot to go over. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into finished objects, the first of which I'm wearing. Okay, finished object number one is a dream knit for me. This here is my Sunset Highway by Caitlin Hunter. She's also known as Boyland Knitworks on Instagram and on Ravelry. This pattern is a dream knit for me. It took me 7.5 weeks, which is actually pretty quick. It's fingering weight, top down, circular, yoke, color work, all of the things, but because the color work is so addictive, and also it is knit on, in my opinion, when you're knitting with fingering weight, it's a US 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle for the main body. I used my Norwegian thimble for the color work. I did talk about this in my last episode, and I've talked about my Norwegian thimble a fair bit, but if you have questions about that, maybe I'll put a little link up here, or you can just message me and I'll talk about that. But for the most part, all I can say about this is that I match gauge with Caitlin Hunter pretty close. She's a loose knitter, and turns out so am I. So I'm really grateful for that, because I love her patterns. And I'm learning how to modify them, because they're not for everyone, honestly. This one in particular was supposed to have 9 inches of positive ease, which isn't my preference, so I went with a 3-inch, so I made a size 2. I have a 36-inch bust, and the changes I made to it were moving the color work on the sleeves down to past the elbow, and I also adjusted the yoke depth, and the measurements for that are in my crazy detailed Ravelry page. And the sleeves, I also used a 3x1 bind off, and I used Lori's twisted bind off. This was an epic knitting adventure. I really like how when I blocked it, because I was concerned for a minute there that it wouldn't block out very well, and it did. I steamed it. I used a steam iron with a wet towel. I basically sandwiched it between the 2 wet towels and used a steam iron, and everything laid flat. I'm happy with my color work. I'm not catching my floats, and I don't use jacquard, but it's not showing through, and I love it so much. So Sunset Highway by Caitlin Hunter is finished object number 1. I would love to wax on and on about this, but then I won't get to the other 4 garments before the sun sets here. So carrying on. Next up, I have another colorwork sweater. This is my Trista by Jennifer Steingass. It's my first Steingass, and I can tell you that it was my longest standing whip so far. I started it at the end of January, and it took me until I think the end of July to finish it. And believe it or not, the color work was not the hardest part at all. What I struggled with was I modified my yoke, again a circular yoke, and because the neckline was so wide, as again late to the party, I'd read in a lot of projects, so I made the neckline a lot smaller and cast on quite a fewer stitches. And then as a result of making the smaller neckline and smaller size, I made a size 4. I think it just obviously changed my my sleeves and how that worked, but I used some Let Lopey, which is what's recommended in the pattern, and this is what I've got left of these colors. It's a little bit looking a little light. but anyway, I think it's pine green. Yeah, pine green, color 1407. And then my other colors, I don't have them off the top of my head. They're linked in my Ravelry notes. I love Let Lopey and I love the rustic part of Let Lopey. I'm wearing it right next to my skin right now. It is definitely toothy, and this will be an outer garment for sure. And I will wear this when it's very, very cold. And I gotta say that there was parts of this that I messed up on. First of all, I didn't understand I had to use her increasing methods in the color work, and I didn't do that, and I kept getting the wrong stitch count. So again, I went to look into the notes, and thankfully for Ravelry, people had put in there that you have to use the invisible, I believe it's an invisible left lifted increase, so that the color work remains intact. There's still mistakes in there. I'm not going to point them out. There are some rounds that are 3-color. I watched Jessica McDonald's tutorial on how to work 3-color color work, which was really easy. It wasn't hard, and I remember trying it a few years back doing a hat and not quite getting the hang of it. So that one I will link below as well. Let's see what else. Oh, I'm going to put in the B-roll footage instead of standing up and just talk about the cast off. So this sweater, what I learned on this one was a new cast off. Oh my gosh, I'm super celebrating this because I love it so much. I think on Instagram I put out there what people's favorite cast off method was, and someone had put the Haya Grandma's stretchy bind off. Oh my goodness, it's a game changer for me. I feel like my cuffs on everything and my hems on everything are going to have this. It's very easy, quite intuitive to work, and I will link the tutorial below. It looks like an Italian bind off, but it's not. It's so much faster. So, all right, that's that. Would I make this again? I don't think so. I do think the color work is stunning, and I like that traced means trust. So I like to do that. I like to trust the process, but this is probably a one-off for me. I don't think I would make this again unless I use different types of yarn. But anyways, there's so many other color work patterns, and Jennifer Steingass has so many of them. So if I made another one, it would be a different pattern for sure. So finished object number 3 is the Cowgirl Crop by Mocree. Hopefully her name correctly. I mean, who am I? I go from Let Lopey over here to a fingering weight, neon colors. Yeah, I go through phases. This was my summer brights phase that I was having, and I wanted to knit this top for Stampede, which is an event that happens in Calgary every year, and or also Knit City. And there was quite a few of the fellow knitters in Calgary who made this for Knit City. I struggled with this so hard. So I first of all started wanting to make it with fingering weight yarn, so I did that, and I changed out my gauge. It's supposed to be an oversized crop. So yeah, I had a false start first of all, and I just used it as a gauge swatch. What ended up happening is I had my neckline too big, so I decided to start over, and I made a size 3 in the pattern using a US 2, which is a 2.75 for the neckline. And then my color work again, I love the color work in this, it's crazy awesome. I used my Norwegian thimble. And after I worked through the yoke and completing charts A, B, and C, instead of doing chart D, I increased 11 stitches, and then I incorporated this galloping horse color work chart that I found on Pinterest. I used the Knit and Note app on how to do my increases so that they were even. Just a little note there. So the horse color work, again, I used my Norwegian thimble, and then I switched back up to the main body size, which was a 3.5 millimeter. My yoke depth. So my yoke depth was good. I take a 9.5 inch measurement, but even at that, I blocked the you-know-what out of this thing, and I still couldn't quite get it to lay the way I wanted it to lay. Although the color work is super fun, and it does look cute with a dress. This dress, by the way, because some might ask, is from Conscious Clothing. I ordered this for my birthday, I think a couple years back after Andrea Mowry had mentioned the company. I'll put a link in the description box. So, I mean, yeah, it's okay, but it feels funny. Even though I redid the neckline, I actually did surgery, cut out the neckline a second time, and still just couldn't quite get the fit to be what I wanted it to be. And also, what some might not know is that Calgary in the summertime is very warm, and so the double fabric of the color work made it too warm, and it was just not comfortable. As a result of this, I will just call helpful information, I decided to do something crazy, and that's where my next finished object comes in. So this garment here is the result of a mad dash to create a garment to wear to Knit City in 5 days. So I wasn't happy with my cowgirl crop, so I thought, I wonder if I could knit another dream knit here. Look at My Holes by James and Watts is what this is called. That's fun to say, James and Watts. This is version 2, although I didn't really look at what version 1 was. I just bought the most recent pattern and decided I'm going to cast on. Gauge swatch, who does that? This is epic. I love it so much. It's a obviously large all over lace garment, which I had never done an all over lace garment before. I've done lace in shawls and hats and in bits of garments, but never an all over one. So this was very interesting. It tickled my brain in a good way. It's an 8-row lace repeat. In the description, he calls it an easy 8-row repeat, which it does become more and more intuitive. However, I wouldn't say it's a beginner friendly pattern in my opinion, because I usually separate my lace repeats with stitch markers, and this, you can't do that. You just got to pay attention, and also it's knit on such a large needle that it's wonderful that way. There are 2 rows that you really have to concentrate on, and he demonstrates them with a YouTube tutorial, so that's really helpful. You cast on with the body needle, which is for, in the pattern it says a US 9, which is a 5.5mm needle, and then later you go in and you pick up for the neckline. Now the thing with this is I messed up my stitch counts multiple times. There's a chart that you can check off, and I would get to the end of it and go, nope, that's not right. And it's got rest rounds, which is very helpful because then you can fudge it and fix it. And I think this thing hides a multitude of sins. Is it perfect? Heck no. Did I finish it in 5 days? So Knit City was about to start on the 17th of August, and I cast this on the 12th of August. Now, technically, I mean, knitting like a maniac for those few days, I actually was finished and could have cast off because it's got the short sleeve version, but I wanted a long sleeve version. So I decided to put it on clear barber cords and wear it to Knit City as a whip. Yeah, I did. And there was only a couple of eagle-eye people who noticed. Otherwise, I brought it up as just like a fun thing to chat about and laugh about, and I think we should normalize it. What do you think? Can we normalize wearing our whips? Please? As long as it's on clear barber cords, you can even tell. And then after Knit City was done, I went and I wrote down detailed notes on how I did the decreases for the sleeves, and I just kept going down every few repeats with a needle size. And again, I did the Hiagramma cast off, bind off, and it, I think, looks so pretty. So lovely. If you've been thinking about this pattern and you literally have like barely any yarn kicking around, you can make this. This is what I have. I still have this left over. I used Bio Balance by BC Garn. I used less than 2 skeins of this Bio Balance in the colorway, I think it's just 01. Yeah, colorway 01. So they're supposed to only have 50 grams. This one actually, all of my skeins of the BC Balance Bio Balance had 55 grams, so 270 yards. But honestly, 515 yards for a long sleeve, well, 3/4 sleeve, I guess. Yeah. So look at my holes, James and Watts. There it is. My fifth and final finished object is my fourth ranunculus. After this finished object, I will go into the footage from my excursion here in P.E.I. today. Now this one here is because I basically wore my third ranunculus threadbare and it was time for another one. It's a pattern by Midori Hirose. If for some reason you're not familiar with it, there are like actual videos on the ranunculus itself. One in particular, Selma of Little Big Knits, she talks about her ranunculus. I think Casey of Young Folk Knits also discusses the ranunculus. I had 3 different people compliment me on this garment yesterday when I was wearing it out and about. And what I would say is that, oh, are you a knitter? First of all was my question. And they were like, oh yeah, but maybe not hardcore knitter, because I said, oh, this is the ranunculus. And if you're a knitter, you've heard of the ranunculus. And if not, I describe it as a viral knitting pattern, because you think you don't want it, but you do. And then you make it, and then you can't stop making them. That's what I'm calling it anyway, because this, for me, I've determined what I love about it the most. For me, it's like such a lightweight layering piece. It's like a shawl in pullover, so it's like a schwall over. And I throw it over and put it in my purse, and it's so lightweight that I can just, whenever I'm chilly a little bit, I can put it on, and yeah. So I had to make this third one. Did I say this was my fourth? It's my third. There will be a fourth. This is the reclaimed yarn from the Stephen West Twist and Turns shawl. I used Amelia and Philomene yarn, which is 70% merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. And what I ended up doing, and when I make this again, is I will make sure I have enough yarn to make a full-length version. This time I just had to use what I had, and I made a size 1 using US 8 for the main body, for the yoke and the main body, US 2 for the neckline, which I cast on in a bit of a different way. This came about by a mistake, actually. I had started making a hat, the Straya hat by Andrea Mowry, and it didn't work out, and I put it over my neck, and I thought, oh, I really like the way that looks. And the Straya hat, I believe, uses a US 2 2.75 millimeter needle. And so I decided to start my ranunculi, using the stitch count from that pattern. And then I switched to the yoke, and I use a US 8, which is a 5 millimeter needle. I do make some modifications to the yoke itself. I leave out a certain panel. It's all written in different sections, so I go through and talk about where I do my Sherman short rows and any of the changes that I make to the pattern, and I have modified it based on what I thought, again, was a mistake. So my last ranunculus, I thought I did the sleeves, they were very tight. But I've come to learn that I actually really like that element on me. I like the way a snug arm looks. So I did it on purpose and took super detailed notes so that I can recreate this one again. And I have the fourth one planned already. So this one I'm wearing a fair bit, and I find that maybe it's pilling a little bit, which could, I'm wondering, be the yak content, but I feel like it will, you know, maybe shed once and then won't do it again. So again, I have a little bit of a story regarding the bind off that I used. I used a Knitty Natty Stretchy I-cord bind off for the cuffs. And then for the hem again, I believe I used the Hiya Grandma Stretchy bind off. Yes, I did. It's my new go-to. I'm loving it so much. And I think that's all I have to say. Holy. Okay, now it's time to insert footage from my P.E.I. excursion, and I'll meet you back here to discuss whips. Okay, hi everybody. So I think I'm going to have to try a new, wow, that's a nice Hummer, a new style of showing you footage of overnight cities. Normally I would take footage and then edit it later and add voiceover and do all of those things. But after my break from podcasting for the last 11 weeks or so, I feel like I need to streamline my process. And as a community, I think you guys are so understanding and wonderful that I hope you'll embrace this new format. So what it is I'm just going to gather clips of the areas that I go to and show you footage. I got a phone call on my iPhone and then it cut off my video. So rather than doing all the Googling and the fun facts and all of that stuff, which is wonderful and I love to provide that, I'm going to just include links in the description box below my videos, and then that way maybe my editing process can continue and be a little bit more efficient and not seem so stressful at the end. So let's just see how it goes. It is 5 p.m. here in Charlottetown, and I'm gonna wander down to the water here and see what I can see. If I was a pigeon in my next life, I would hang out at Cow's ice cream shop for P.E.I.'s best ice cream. Okay, so Maddie's hooking me up here.
I sure am.
We got gooey mooey and chocolate mud. Too much? No. Never. Oh my gosh.
Go.
Thanks, girl.
You're very welcome.
Some epic ice cream. Gooey mooey and mud pie. They're from Cows. Maybe not the best dinner choice, but you know, it's after a red eye. I make interesting choices. Okay, well, now that I've had my dinner, my ice cream, I'm just gonna wander back to the hotel and wind it down. I have a full day planned tomorrow. I can't wait to explore a little bit more of this beautiful island. Prince Edward Island, Charlottetown in particular, the last time I came here was 2022, the end of August, and then the end of September, Hurricane Fiona, which is considered one of the worst hurricane storms to hit Canada, hit. And I'm looking around right now and I'm actually not seeing any evidence of it. Thousands of trees were down, power was gone, and it was quite a storm. So it's good to see that things have rebuilt and it's just looking more beautiful than ever here. Just gonna have a little chat with these boys. Looks like they're reading the Confederation documents here. Okay, good night everybody. We'll see you in the morning. Okay, good morning. I got the rental car. Look at this cute little number. Super convenient, right in the hotel lobby. It's a Toyota Corolla, I believe. And my next decision is, do I get coffee from Linda's coffee shop, or do I go across the street to this place, which I think I came to last time, called the Kettle Black. I ended up going with Kettle Black. I walked into Linda's and it looked like a delicious sit-down breakfast type restaurant, but they only had the, orange handle, black handle coffee pots on a hot plate, and I needed the high test for today because today's a special day. So I got an Americano. Yep. I can feel it in my bones. It's gonna be a great day today. Although I had to move really quickly because the parking guy was about to give me a ticket. So I'm just going to start off by saying I had a fabulous sleep, and this pairing slash trip, if you're new here, I don't usually get this. This is actually a first for me in almost 17 years. The longest layover I've ever had. So I've got 84 hours. Yesterday I spent just having a nap and then walking down to the water as I filmed. And today I have all day. So I'm so excited to take you on this adventure. We are going to head out to Cavendish, which is a heritage area, and it's the birthplace of the Anne of Green Gables books, if you're familiar with that. Most people are. And then I'm going to go up to the northern part of the island, which is called Bloomfield, and I'm going to visit McCausland Woolen Mills. So without further ado, I'm going to get going, and yeah, just really enjoy and savor this day. It is such a gift and a blessing to be doing this today. So let's go do it. And I'm new to this vlogging stuff, so I got to be careful. I know the wind was really loud when I was recording last night, and yeah, let's do it. I am having the most beautiful drive towards Cavendish, and I stopped in my tracks when I saw this cute little church. I just had to double back and film it. Okay, I haven't even got to where I need to go yet, but I had to stop because look at these storybook houses that I'm passing. It's incredible. Okay, the journey is turning out to be the adventure. I was driving along beautiful Rustico area road, and then I saw on the side of the highway a sign that said Nitpickers. I'm like, pardon? Urge? Nitpickers by Margaret McEachran. So I'm going in to investigate. Okay, well, here's parking. I'm gonna walk over to the studio and see what's going on. So I walked up to look at the hours of operation, and it is open at this time of year from 11 until 4, which is still another 40 minutes away. So I'm going to carry on because I still have to get to Cavendish and to the northern part of the island, which is another, I think, an hour and a half out of Cavendish. So I found this little treasure, but I don't have time to explore it today. Well, I made it to Cavendish, and a huge tour bus just showed up. I just saw a camper that was from Indiana and a car from Quebec, Nova Scotia. People drive all over the world to come here. Is this place haunted?
What do you want me to say? I haven't heard any good stories as far as I know. But I mean, in my opinion, it probably is. If you're into that kind of thing, I would say it probably is. The weird things that happen though, like no crazy stories, but like weird things will happen when there's no visitors in the house, just random door creaks and things, which are just typical of an old house, but we sometimes give it a little more life than it should. We're like, oh, there's Lucy. And like we'll say sometimes when we hear a creak or something, a door slams randomly. We have a door attached to a magnet upstairs, and that will sometimes randomly slam. We always blame Lucy Maud for that. So we're kind of joking, but we're also kind of hurt. So.
Well, this is Lover's Lane. I can't believe I'm here by myself, but Dave's at home. He had to wait for a washer and dryer to be delivered. I feel bad because I have this long layover and he can't come. So I want to remember walking through the woods of Cavendish, listening to nature, smelling the fresh air, having a great visit to P.E.I. Thanks for coming to Green Gables with me. Okay, so I've just spent about, I don't know, I lost track of time honestly, probably 2 hours, hour and a half here at Cavendish Beach, which is Prince Edward Island National Park. I know that the wind is on. I might have to get a windsock if I keep doing this type of footage. For the whole time I walked through this beautiful place, all I could hear was the ocean and nature. And I just can't tell you how beautiful it is. I'm really enjoying my day. But a rookie move. I did not pack a battery charger, and I'm on my way, which is another hour from here, to Bloomfield to visit McCausland Woolen Mill. So I got to turn this off. Hopefully I don't need to use Google Maps too much because that will use up a lot of my battery. Okay, I just had another I need to stop at the side of the road moment here. I'm not sure if these purple flowers are weeds. I don't know what they are. All I know is that this beautiful field is so gorgeous. And this place is magic. After a leisurely drive up the number 2 highway, I have arrived here at McCausland Woolen Mill. I stopped and got a battery charger from the gas station. They were so nice to me. The rental car only had C-type chargers. Anyways, it was a bit of a rigmarole. And but I made it. I have to go to the bathroom so bad. But what a beautiful drive it was up here, and this is what it looks like.
Welcome to McCausland's Woolen Mill. 6 generations now McCausland's. I'm the 6th generation on deck. We started as a sawn grist mill around 1870 or so. We've been doing wool since 1932, and we do it all on premises here, from raw wool to finished yarn and blankets. We get wool from all over Canada and the States, and yeah, that's about it.
So there is some bridge construction here, so we are at a complete standstill. And I just left McCausland's, where they were so nice. I really enjoyed walking around, smelling all the wool fumes. And Jason met me there. He was the first person that said hello. And then I met Monica and Amanda, and they told me I need to go to see the giant potato. So I'm off to do that now, and I did not leave there empty-handed. Okay, well, we're moving, but look at this. Well, here she is in all her glory. A giant potato. She's a beaut. I am in West Point at the Lighthouse and Inn, and quite frankly, I don't think I've been to a more peaceful place. It is unbelievable. Look at this. Sunset isn't until 7:30. It is currently, I think, around 5:30, so it's a couple hours away. What a great day. This has been amazing. Prince Edward Island really pulled out all the beautiful stops for me today. And I hope you liked my new vlog style footage. I hope that this makes it a little bit more sustainable to do my editing and my videos. And yeah, great day. There isn't anywhere to eat right now. I think you have to be actually staying at the inn to eat here. So I'm gonna head back towards Charlottetown and grab a bite to eat and yeah, call it an amazing day. I'll never forget it. Okay, welcome back. Now it's time for the whip parade. Just before I launch into that, I wanted to say that this type of a vlog that I did there, having this long of a layover is pretty much an anomaly, and so they won't always be this long. Just wanted to put that out there. So, okay, the whip parade. We'll start with something that you did see on my last episode if you were watching. I was working on a pullover with gifted yarn from the wonderful dyer Cami Jo, who is Cami Jo Knit. She's a designer, a podcaster, all-around amazing human being. I don't know. I think this is a little bit off as far as color goes. Anyway, so I had started knitting one of her patterns called the Bagnole, which is a raglan top-down sweater. And then I realized I'm having really good luck with circular yokes. So I'm diving down those. So I picked another one of her patterns called Cactus Flower. Look at her beautiful daughter who's modeling the original version. And I took out the original Bagnole that I was working on, and I'm actually at about the same spot that I was when I stopped knitting on the Bagnole. So I'm knitting the Cactus Flower. That's awkwardly trying it on because the needle's small and it won't stretch out. But I'm loving this color, the fingering and the silk mohair and the fingering weight yarn that she has gifted me are just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, this incredible base is 465 yards, 425 meters per 100 grams, fingering weight. It's 65% merino, 20% nylon, and 15% yak. And then the silk mohair, Camilla dyes on 72% fine kid mohair and 28% silk, 50-gram balls. So I am working on, and I could use your help with, choosing what to do for the color work. So my stitch count here will allow me to either use this pattern itself, which is really cool. However, because I'm going to use this mint color for the entire sweater with the exception of, not color block, with the exception of the color work part. And I was thinking, I've been yipping on about this for a long time, doing the knitted Kalevala, the Sulalu color work. I'll put a picture here. And so I was wondering if I should insert that. Although Camilla is from Copenhagen, Denmark, she's not Finnish, which is what the knitted Kalevala is. It's a book about Finnish folklore. It's an epic. And anyways, but I don't know if she would mind. Would you mind, Camilla, if I switched out the color work? And then I was trying to decide what color should I put. This is kind of a high contrast, but I could pair it with a light colored mohair and insert the Sulalu color work. Or I could go for a lower contrast and use this Comfort Cove 3-ply fingering that I got when I was in Newfoundland from Pam of Windswept Fibers. That with a mohair as well, and just have more of a subdued color work. So anyways, if you have some thoughts or opinions about that, I would love it. So that is work in progress number 1. Work in progress number 2, I'm going to have to use the magic of editing to show it to you because it's group knit. So some friends and I are going back up to Whitehorse at the end of September. And last year we knit the Birds and Ships cowl just as a loose little friendship, like we all made the Birds and Ships cowl. So then we decided to choose another pattern to knit together. And we chose the Amran by Joji Locatelli, which is a shawl, a 1 skein shawl. And what we did to choose our colors was use inspiration from the photos that we took last year in Braeburn, which is Whitehorse, Yukon. So I'll put a picture of the inspiration photo in color, and then here I'll switch to black and white and show you the progress of my shawl so that my friends don't see, because we're all keeping our colors secret. And then when we get together at the off-grid cabin, we're going to add the tassels from one another's colors that we've chosen that we haven't seen. Did that make sense? I hope so. At this point, I'm not sure if I'm actually making any sense. So this is how far I've got in the Amran so far. This is the right side I'm showing, which I'm finding helpful to mark with a stitch marker. Let's see if I can get back a little farther. I cannot wait to show you this color because it is absolutely stunning, although it's blowing out huge anyways, so seeing it in black and white, you're not missing too much. It is very interestingly shaped. It's kind of zigzaggy as you're seeing, but I will trust the process. I've seen other people, what they do is they block it out, and then this edge that is created with the wedges, it evens out a bit. So what drew me to it big time was this gorgeous lace. I wonder if you'll be able to see that very well here. The gorgeous lace, which is fairly simple, and the rest of it's garter stitch. So the increasing is on the right and the wrong side, and I'm not able to use my stitch markers to separate the lace because there's one section where you'd have to move the stitch markers, so I'm just doing my best so far. I'm really not showing, oh, that's actually not too bad. So we'll see how that goes. I gotta hurry up because the trip to Whitehorse is on the 26th of September. So I don't have much time, but there's a few more wedge sections and then I'll block it and hopefully everyone will enjoy that. So I'll show you it in color on the next episode. My third whip is a project I can't put down, and I have to because I have annual training and I have to do my studying. But I'm loving it so much. This is a test knit. It's called the Nordic Noel, and it's by Anayuti Knits. So Anina. And this is her Nordic Noel pattern, which everyone in the test knit is just having the best time with. And you can't put it down. I'm putting it on because I like to try on my yokes for you. And I'm doing a 2-color version in size 3. How did I put that on here? Where did I? There we go. It's really addictive. I have no chill. I saw this, Anina put it out on Instagram, and I slid into her DMs immediately. I was like, please let me test this. I have the yarn and everything, which I actually thought I was going to use Biche Bouche, Le Lamb's Wool. And I thought it was perfect. It was like a beige, and then I also had a dark color. But I was working through my gauge swatch, and I was having a hard time. Like, it was gripping too much. It's a DK weight pattern, and the Biche Bouche Le Lamb's Wool also. So anyway, I thought it would be perfect. But instead, what I did was I returned the 3 skeins of Double Sunday by Semnes Garn that I had left over after my cocktail cardigan. And I got these colors from Yarn Twisters, a local yarn shop in Calgary. They're awesome. And this is actually quite a dark, It's quite a dark steel gray green. I love it so much. It's called Urban Chic, I think is what it's called, but it's also just a number as well. 9080. And then for the second color, I'm just using 01, White and Borden. And I'm loving it so much. I think if I didn't have to study so much, I would have blasted through the yoke already. And I'm really lucky to be knitting. I'm knitting the size 3. And some people are going to be doing the full Christmas, color theme. Others are doing a little bit brighter. And then you can do stripes. It's going to be the perfect festive sweater, and it's for me, and I'm loving it so far. So you should probably see this as a finished object in the next episode, if not really close to being done. My fourth and final finished object is, okay, get your mind out of the gutter. It's a sock. It's a sock, of course, with a very interesting shape. I put this on Instagram as a joke, saying that it, as you're making it, it has a particular shape. It's a half-finished object. I did show you the beginnings on my last episode. I have completed a one. Is it the left or the right? Half a sock is complete for my Daver. I'm using the pattern by Andrew Mowry called the DRK Everyday Sock. It's a toe-up pattern with ribbing, which is very forgiving. Comes in 11 sizes. I'm making a men's medium for Dave. He has a men's size 11 foot. And it is toe-up. You start with a Turkish cast on, which I can't believe, but I've memorized it. That's bizarre. And also, I am using some yarn from the amazing Tyler, who is a Alberta-based dyer, Arcane Fiberworks, because my husband requested a pair of socks, camo colored camouflage. So it's a little bit light in here, so they're quite a dark green, and they have extra color now, thanks to a little bit of a situation I had. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you may not have seen this. Or even if you do follow me on Instagram, sometimes stuff just gets shuffled, but I have never given much thought to this, but in my work in progress bag, I often keep track of my patterns, and this is what it was in, and I had a pen in there. And my pen going from ground level to 39,000 feet, that was a dangerous game I was playing. So it expanded and my pen leaked out. Now, lucky enough, it seems to have just absorbed right into the ball of yarn, because it does have little flecks of black. Of course, I'm not seeing any right now. But that was a near miss right there. Oh my goodness. And I posted it on Instagram as a warning to be like, pencils, only use pencils with your patterns and keeping your projects, because that had never happened to me before, which I'm actually surprised about. Can you imagine if it would have been, say, the mint color Cami Jo yarn that would have got ink all over it? That would have been awful. And then Tyler from Arcane sent me, he's like, here you go, only use pencils. And I didn't even know, all of a sudden it says you have an order from Arcane Fiberworks, and he sent me a new ball, which at this point I don't know if I'll need. When I block the sock, I'm going to put in a color catcher just in case that ink decides it wants to bleed out into the rest of the sock. But anyway, that was a little public service announcement for your project bags to not, unless, if you're a digital person and you just keep track of your patterns, that's me checking. I don't know what I'm checking there. But I always print out my patterns generally and then write next to it. I never thought to not keep a pen with my knitting project. So anyway, that could have been worse. So I should have these done for Dave. He tried on this one. It is fitting perfectly. It has a Flegel heel, and I'm just at the heel turning point here. I was working on this in the video, so I had to wait because I have to really pay attention. So, all right, my alarm just went off, and so that means it's time to wrap it up. Okay, well that's it. We're at the end of this time together. Thank you so much if you're gonna pop out now, because it's just knit and chat. actually correct that. It's just going to be chat because all the projects I'm working on require concentration. Even the sock, which would have been my go-to, I have to turn the heel next, so that will require concentration. And then my other projects are color work, so it's just going to be chat, and I'm going to awkwardly be looking at my notes because I don't know where the summer went. It flew by, as time seems to be doing. And if you are leaving right now, thank you so much for staying as long as you did, and I hope to see you again on the Knitty Stew. And until next time, thank you. And also, I forgot to mention that it had been 2 years since I came out here, and my last episode in Charlottetown was 2022. I did mention that actually. But I got a trip I went out to Belfast Mini Mills, and I got to meet Kim and Ken. I hope that's their names. I forget. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'll put a link here or else in the description box if you wanted to see that beautiful farm and that place. They're lovely. And sorry I couldn't make it out there. I could only go so far with the rental car. It was actually 8 p.m. by the time I returned that vehicle. So anyways, so yeah, please grab your knitting and I'll just chit chat a little bit about the last couple of months. So in the midst of my break, I did a lot of spinning. I did Tour de Fleece, and I guess I just was participating and practicing and using my Kiwi 3. I got an Ashford Kiwi 3 wheel. I'm not going to show or talk too much about spinning on this channel. I think I'm going to keep it classic and mostly just stick to knitting, although it is such a fun rabbit hole that I'm down, and I miss it and I use it as a treat. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Other than that, this exciting highlights were not getting a street cleaning ticket this year because there was a water restriction and they actually didn't clean our streets on the original dates, but I did get email notifications. And then when they did do the street cleaning, I literally pulled up on the side of the house, which has a lawn space, and made sure I wasn't on the road. So learned my lesson there. If you've been here a while, you'll hear the saga of my parking tickets and the street cleaning. Didn't happen this year. See, I learned. Other than that, I got to enjoy a lobster boil birthday party for an adult niece of mine. It was good to see the family, although I really don't like lobster. Sorry. But I went for the company, and it was nice to celebrate my niece's 40th birthday. Bugs the cat turned 1. What else happened? I went and hung out with my daughter Anna at her place, and we watched a creepy movie, but also very interesting, called Don't Worry Darling. It's got Harry Styles in it, and my daughter is a original fan of One Direction, and so we enjoyed watching Harry Styles. He can act, he can do all the things. Gotta love that guy. Another wonderful event that I got to go to was my niece's birthday. She got married just west of the city in a beautiful venue. That was amazing. And we had the opportunity, which we don't have and haven't had for a very long time, where all of my siblings, we all got together, and it was good. It was such a joyous occasion to hang out and watch two people join their lives together, and now I'm seeing footage of their Instagram. They're in Italy and all over having a beautiful honeymoon. So yeah, congrats to Steph, my niece Steph, and my new nephew-in-law, I guess. I don't know what you call that, Colton. So that was awesome. After that, just before Knit City, my sister Wendy said, "Do you want to go on a road trip? I got to go pick up some yarn." And yeah, I mean, that was not a hard sell. What the yarn was, though, was very special. We drove up to Stettler, which is a place in central Alberta. It was a couple hours drive, and she let me be the passenger the whole time because, like a maniac, I was working on my holes. And we went up to Stettler, and we actually met the owner of the new fiber mill, which is just opened in Alberta not too long ago. It's called Dragonfly Farm and Fiber Mills, and the owner her name is Karen, and I don't remember what her husband's name is, but I'll link them below because they're so eager, so excited to be doing fiber milling, and they're newbies and they're just enjoying learning and trying all these things. So my sister Wendy took some of her sheep's fleece. She had Will and Henry, and then they blended it with some alpaca that they got off of a Facebook farm forum and had it made into what was supposed to be for my sister's weaving loom, but they're still learning, and it was certainly not lace weight yarn, but the twist and the luster and the beauty of it is just, it turned out amazing. So yeah, very much want to support this new fiber mill and getting more mills in Alberta in general. So my sister kindly gave me some of, I think I have 2 skeins of Henry, and then I have some fleece from Will. Then it was Knit City. So a quick recap of Knit City. It was a few days long, and it was happening in downtown Calgary, and there was a lot of action. I went to help my friend Brittany and her family set up their booth, which is Crux Fibers, and I was like, what a beautiful venue. It was the TELUS Convention Center, very well spread out. The lighting was natural lighting is so good, and it's a lot of work. Those folks, they drove all the way down from Whitehorse. That is a massive drive. If you Google Whitehorse to Calgary, I'm not sure it was very helpful to Brittany, honestly. Sorry, Brittany. I get super overwhelmed at large events. Not overwhelmed, I shouldn't say it in that way, but I just get really sensory. Like there's just so much happening that I forget what I'm doing, and I don't get to see everything, and yeah, I just rabbit hole or squirrel, whatever, yeah, that kind of thing. So, but it was nice to meet a lot of you, and also to meet some really incredible, talented vendors. Finally, at the end of August, I celebrated my 12 years sobriety birthday. If you have been here a little while, you'll know that August 29th is my second birthday, and yeah, I have 12 years now, which is, I'm laughing saying I got a case of recovery, which is 12 years, and I'm really happy about that. If you are struggling with substance use as far as alcohol goes, not knitting, because I don't know how to get off of that addiction. But no, all joking aside, if you need assistance with something like that, women don't talk about it a lot. I mean, it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I can offer some advice, or some, not necessarily advice, but just experience. Like, this is what I did, and if you want that, the last time I mentioned it on the episode, I was very graciously, I got some emails, and hopefully people are doing okay. So that was a big celebration. I did get some acquisitions, and I'm also, maybe I'll put some pictures of that too at the end of the video, and mostly looking forward to what's coming next, which after annual training. So I need more. That's really good stuff, this raspberry cordial. A lot of sugar going on, I'm pretty sure, because it's super good. Anything with lots of sugar. Yeah, so every year as a flight attendant, we have to do emergency procedures, drills, evacuations, first aid, all kinds of training. So it requires a lot of e-learning and then in-person training. So after that is over, that's on Monday and Tuesday next week, and then leading up to it is all those e-learning modules. I get to look forward to going up to Whitehorse with a few fiber friends, and that's on the 26th of September to the 30th of September. And then who knows? I'll blink and it'll be at the end of October. I hope you are enjoying the burr months. I love fall so much, and I would go over knitting plans, but this video is already long enough, and also I know myself, and I see things and my interests and stuff changes. So, I mean, good intentions, my cue, it changes very frequently based on how the wind blows, it seems. But anyway, thank you so much for being here for this entire episode. I really appreciate everyone's engagement in this community, and I do wish everyone all the very best until I see you next time. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again. Bye. Awesome!